Where to share slide? It's in the middle. It's in the middle. You look at the bottom menu. Bottom menu. It's in the middle. Okay, there you go. All right.
Okay. Is it okay?
That's good. All right, that's good. Can you make it big? Enlarge it. Can you enlarge it?
Large.
Enlarge. Just
full screen.
full screen. When you click down there, where you yeah.
How about this?
放映，幻灯片放映。右下角那个三角，右下角。
右上角对。
对，放映。
Okay.
Okay. It's okay?
Not yet.
这个显
Not yet.
你那边已经显示放映了是吗？
I can see it on my screen.
Okay.
我们这边不是放映的状态，你那边是放映的状态是吗？
对。
哦，那就这样。
It's not PowerPoint, yeah. It's some kind of word thing. I gotta wear my glasses and I cannot.
It's a free.
Can you put full screen? Yeah, this one.
I want it bigger.
Right. Yeah, you don't need all this, right?
Is it okay?
It's full screen.
Yeah?
It's full screen in the computer.
In his
But
computer.
we can.
Alright, okay, we'll see this one then. Alright, okay.
Is it okay?
It is okay, I suppose, but I didn't bring my glasses, so I
我们看到的不是放映的状态，不是全屏的。
哦。我这边看到是放映的。It's weird.
Yeah. I can still see this one, but the later one, the third slide, fourth slide, I will have problem. This is not PowerPoint, right?
Yes, it's WPS.
It is PowerPoint?
A free software for slides.
Oh, huh? It's PowerPoint? It's free software. It's open source. It's not PowerPoint. Okay, so let's continue. If I have problem, I will go to the screen. Can you enlarge it?
Maybe I can make it bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. Hanif is helping to make it bigger. Alright. Okay. Good. Yeah. Continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shall we begin?
You shall. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to introduce my research, and my title is The Impact of Corporate Social Responsibility of Chinese Listed Company on Financial Performance. This study is to investigate the impact of corporate social responsibility practices on the financial performance of Chinese listed companies. The research will utilize a quantitative research method, selecting a representative sample of companies from various industries. Financial data, including balance sheets and income statements, will be collected from the company reports and financial databases. Additionally, data on the future CSR indicators such as sustainability reports and community involvement will be gathered. The study will analyze the relationship between the future CSR indicators and financial performance measures using statistical techniques like future regression analysis and correlation analysis. control variables such as company size and economic conditions will be considered. Ethical considerations will be followed to ensure data privacy and confidentiality. This research aims to contribute the valuable insights into the link between the CSR and the financial outcomes, helping companies make informed decisions and enhance their overall sustainability efforts. So the background, in the context of accelerated economic globalization and the increased competition among enterprise, meaning our gaining competitive advantage has become crucial for companies. At the same time, public expectations of corporations have evolved, demanding active engagement in social governance alongside the economic pursuits. This presents a significant challenge for contemporary enterprises to achieve competitiveness and financial performance while meeting public expectations. Companies are increasingly recognizing themselves as complex entities with multiple stakeholders extending beyond shareholders. Meeting the diverse needs of stakeholders such as customers, suppliers, investors, and creditors requires allocating resources to fulfill corporate social responsibility. Hence, this study focuses on exploring the relationship between the CSR and the financial performance in Chinese A-share listed companies, aiming to understand how CSR practices can influence the company's competitiveness and financial outcomes in today's complex business environment. So the purpose statement, this study focuses on the relationships between the CSR, innovation, and the financial performance in the context of Chinese listed company. The CSR refers to voluntary action taken by companies to address social and environmental issues beyond legal obligations. As the importance of reasonable and sustainable business practice grows globally, understanding the impact of CSR on financial performance becomes essential. The study addressed four main questions. Firstly, it aims to examine whether CSR initiatives of Chinese listed companies affect their financial performance, considering China's economic growth and increasingly importance in global business landscape. Secondly, it explores the relationship between the CSR and the innovation, acknowledging the crucial role of innovation in driving competitive advantage and long-term success. Given the mixed findings in previous studies, the research seeks to gain a comprehensive understanding of how CSR influences financial performance in the specific context of Chinese listed companies. Thirdly, it investigates whether the innovation efforts of Chinese listed companies impact their financial performance, considering the dynamic and highly competitive business environment they operate in. Finally, the study explored the potential mediating role of innovation between CSR and financial performance by understanding the mechanism by which CSR practice translates into financial outcomes. Companies can leverage the CSR to enhance their financial performance effectively. So I set 5 research questions and 5 research objectives. The first research question is, do corporate social responsibility of Chinese listed companies affect financial performance? The research question 2, does the CSR of Chinese listed companies affect innovation? Research question 3, does the innovation of Chinese listed company affect financial performance? The research question 4. Does innovation play an intermediary role between the corporate social responsibility and the financial performance? The last research question is, does the nature of a business moderate the relationship between the CSR and the financial performance? The significance of the study. The theoretical significance of the study, the impact of CSR of Chinese listed company on financial performance will be twofold. This research will contribute to the theoretical understanding of CSR by examining its impact on financial performance, specifically in context of Chinese listed company. CSR is a multi-dimensional concept encompassing various social, environmental, and ethical dimensions. By investigating its relationship with financial performance, the study will expand our knowledge of how CSR practices can influence the economic outcomes of companies. It will provide empirical evidence that can support our challenging existing CSR theories and models, contributing to the development and the refinement of CSR frameworks. The scope of my study focus on examining the impact of CSR initiative of Chinese listed company on their financial performance. The study aims to analyze the relationship between the CSR practices and financial indicators, such as profitability, return on investment, and stock performance. The study will specifically concentrated on Chinese listed companies operating in various industries and sectors. A diverse range of companies will be inducted to ensure a comprehensive understanding of the relationship between the CSR and the financial performance across different contexts. So the theory foundation, the first one, definitely the stakeholder theory. It argues that companies should focus on maximizing the interest of all stakeholders, not just shareholders. And the second one is the social contract theory. And with the growing importance of corporates in socio-economic development, the theory of corporate social contracts has gained significance. Corporate social contract varies at a different stage of development, assuming an implicit obligation between the corporate and the society. Corporations are expected to address societal needs, make them positive impact, and minimize negative consequences. Failure to meet expectations may lead to perceived unethical behavior. The contract embodies corporate social responsibility and social responsibility for corporate development. And here is the research framework of my study. And the left part is CSR, and I set them the variables. It's and the middle variables is the innovation, and the financial performance is here. So based on this research framework, I set a lot of hypotheses. The first one is there is a significant relationships between CSR and the financial performance. And because there are set 4 dimensions of the CSR, so there was 4 little hypotheses in my study. There is a significant relationship between the employee social responsibility and financial performance. there is a significant relationship between the supply and the customer. I lost a space here. And supply and the customer social responsibility and the financial performance. And there is a significant relationship between the environmental social responsibility and the financial performance. Last one is there is a significant relationship between the government and public welfare, social responsibility, and financial performance. Hypothesis 2. Is there a significant relationship between the CSR and the innovation? So it also same 4 dimensions of CSR here. The hypothesis 3. Is there a significant relationship between the innovation and the financial performance? And in fact, I found a lot of research to support this one. And hypothesis 4, the innovation mediates the relationship between the CSR and the financial performance.
Highlight hypothesis.
The last one is the nature of a business motivated the relationship between CSR and the financial performance. And here's the hypothesis. Okay. Yes.
Hypothesis. Hypothesis.
Hypothesis.
That's right. Good. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's an important word for you to know because you have so many hypotheses. So hypothesis. Yeah.
Yes, hypothesis.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. And here is the methodology. In my research, the quantitative research.
Methodology.
Methodology.
There's a G at the end. Methodology.
Methodology.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Methodology.
Yes.
The quantitative research will examine the impact of corporate social responsibility practices on the financial performance of Chinese listed company. A representative sample from various industries will be randomly selected. Financial data, including balance sheets and income statements, and CSR indicators such as sustainability reports and community involvement will be collected. Financial performance measures such as ROA and EPS will be served as dependent variables, while CSR indicators will be the independent variable. Statistical techniques like regression analysis will be employed. Controlling for factors like company size and industry, ethical consideration will be prioritized throughout the study. Acknowledging limitations, the study will present clear findings discussing the implications for theory and practice. Finally, the research will provide insights into whether CSR positively affect financial performance. In the quantitative research method, the proper measurement of variables is crucial. Financial performance measures such as return on assets (ROA), return on equity (ROE), earnings per share (EPS), or stock market performance indicators need to be defined and operationalized. Similarly, CSR indicators encompassing environmental sustainability, social contributions, and ethical business practice must be appropriately measured. Data analysis involved applying statistical techniques such as correlation analysis and regression analysis to examine the relationship between CSR indicators and financial performance measures. It is essential to control for other relevant factors by including control variables like company size, age, or industry, statistical software such as SPSS, STT can be utilized for in-facial data analysis. The research should adhere the ethical considerations, ensuring confidentiality, permissions, and informed consent. Limitation of the study, such as measurement errors and sample representativeness, should acknowledged to provide a comprehensive understanding of the research outcomes. So some techniques like population and sampling. Population and sampling are essential considerations in studying the impact of corporate social responsibility on financial performance of Chinese listed companies. The population of interest is all Chinese companies, but due to feasibility, a representative sample must be selected. A sampling frame with a comprehensive list of companies is obtained from reliable sources. Random or stratified sampling methods are used to select the sample, ensuring the representation from different segments. Determining the appropriate sample size is crucial for statistical validity. Factors like research design and available resource are considered. Power analysis helps estimate the required sample size by carefully defining the population using appropriate sampling method and ensuring representative and accurate sample size. Meaningful conclusions can be drawn about the relationship between CSR and the financial performance in Chinese listed companies, and how to the process of the data analysis. It is a critical step in quantitative research to draw meaningful insights from the collected data. In the context of studying the impact of corporate social responsibility of Chinese listed companies on financial performance, here is an outline of data analysis process. The first is the data preparation. Before analyzing the data, it is essential to clean and organize the data set. This involves checking for missing values, outliers, and inconsistencies. If necessary, perform data imputation or removal of incomplete or innumerous data points. Ensure that the data is in appropriate form for analysis. Describe statistics. Begin by conducting the descriptive statistical analysis to summarize and describe the variables of interest, calculate measures such as mean, medians, standard deviations, and frequencies to provide an overview of the data. This helps in understanding the distribution and the characteristic of the variables. And the correlation analysis assesses the strength and the direction, the relationship between the CSR indicators and financial performance measures using the correlation coefficient. Regression analysis. Determine the impact of CSR practices on financial performance while controlling for other relevant factors. Conducting multiple regression analysis to assess the relationship between the dependent variables and the independent variables. And regression analysis determine the impact of CSR practice on financial performance while controlling for other relevant factors. Conduct multiple regression analysis to assess the relationship between the dependent variable, like the financial performance, and the independent variables. That means the CSR indicators and the control variables. Okay, thank you. That's all of my research proposal.
Right, thank you. Good. This progress there. A quick question, Kalai.
Yes.
Have you not presented your research proposal to the CenPRIS committee?
No,
Not yet. Okay.
it's my first time for this research
one.
proposal.
Yeah. This is what confirm that. How long have you registered now as registered to USM?
Almost I registered is in almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. So
Yes.
okay, your target is you must make the presentation in 1 or 2 months time. You got to arrange for that. You got to focus on that, right? You have to, it's 2 years is way too long for a research proposal. So you must move to the research proposal presentation within this 1 or 2 months time, right, Carla? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Make that commitment. Number of things I want to say. First of all, you can can you scroll up to the first slide?
First slide. The abstract.
Are you controlling? This is controlling. Okay. All right. Now, further up. Your title. Slide number 1, your title. Okay, alright. Now before I start, now there's food here. Everyone can have some. There's but you cannot eat the rice because it has meat in it, right? But you can eat the other dessert. The dessert is coconut biscuit, something like that. So, you all haven't met Samir, right? Have you met Samir yet?
Never.
No, so Samir, right?
On the screen.
On the screen, so Samir.
Hello.
Lia and Qilin.
What?
Me? Actually, Xu Li Yue. Xu Li Yue.
She, me?
Yue. Yeah.
She, me. Okay.
No, Qilin is Yue.
Xu Li Yue. Maybe Christine.
How would you like to be called?
Yeah. It's depend on whether Christine or
Kristen.
Christine.
Kristen.
Christine. Maybe it's easy for you.
Yeah. What about you?
齐敏
C?
齐敏
Seaman.
Yeah.
Seaman.
Excellent.
Well, Samir is studying the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, so studying a lot about China's involvement in Qatar, right?
No, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi, sorry.
Egypt, Jordan.
The 3 countries there, sorry. Okay, let's go back to your first slide. The first slide, Kailai, are you there? You have? Okay.
Yes.
Number 1, I will remove the word impact. The impact of, I know a lot of economists like to use that word, I would remove that word, right? The impact of, remove the word impact, the impact of. Okay. So you can say corporate social responsibility and financial performance in Chinese listed companies, public listed companies, you can say that, right? But not impact. So if you say impact, then we will talk about it later on. Now, the most fundamental thing I want to highlight here, is that this is a common research. A lot of people have carried out research on CSR and financial performance. Right? I'm sure I've told you that. I think I did, but then it is a common research. Financial performance and CSR is common research. By the way, Zhao Lei, who is in our our WebEx right now. She's also doing CSR. Min is also doing CSR as well, right?
Yeah.
Yifeng is doing on education, and Lia is doing on entrepreneurial education, so slightly different. So there are a lot of similarities, not the same. Similarities in between what you're doing and what Min and Chao is doing, right? As similarities are there. But this is
Yes.
too common. This is too common topic. Now, what I'd like you to do is to identify research gaps. Like in your literature review, you got to find what the research gaps are.
Research gaps.
Research gaps are. What has not been researched in the previous studies, and other previous writings. I've seen a lot of research doing CSR and financial performance. So you got to think of something more original, and you got to show that there is a research gap, right? So I'm going to go deeper
Yes.
into your research here. You scroll down. Maybe next time it's easier for Hanif to control over here. Yeah, Hanif control is yeah. Alright. Can you hear me clearly, Highlight? You can hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can hear the question about research gaps.
Yeah, you can or you cannot?
I can hear you.
Okay. You can, that can, okay. Not can't. Cannot or can or cannot? 可以不可以?
Hello.
Hello, okay. Can you hear? Yes or no? Yes or no? You can hear me?
Yes. I can hear you now.
Yes. All right, good. I just want to check. As Samir said, there's a problem with the WebEx last time, so just don't check. Now, scroll down, go down to the next slide.
Go down next slide.
And then the next slide. Go down further. All right, go down further. Down, further down. All right. When you have problem statement and background, it helps to highlight certain words, right? So when highlight, make it bold or highlight or underline or whatever, so that when the audience or the evaluators or the examiners listen to your presentation, they can see the keywords that you're emphasizing in your problem statement and your keywords or your background, keywords in your background, keywords in your problem statement, right? Okay, so problem statement, you want to lead from the problem statement, you have your research gaps. So I'm not sure what the research gap is, right? From the problem statement, you have research gap, and what is the research gap is. And you want to identify that. Now, I want to go further down, scroll down, further down. Okay, now you have research objectives. Okay, let's go to your framework, your conceptual framework. It's easier to talk from a conceptual framework or theoretical conceptual framework. Okay, good. Research framework, right. So you will call this your conceptual framework. It's a research framework, call it conceptual framework. Replace the word research with the word conceptual, right? Here you're making certain assumption here. Your assumption, you see the arrows there? Right, the assumption is that you have innovation in the middle as
Yes.
right? As a moderating factor, am I right?
Yes.
Moderating variable, okay. So you have CSR on the left, you have employee, you have supplier and customer social responsibility, environmental social responsibility, okay, you put into government and public welfare. Okay. You got to define all this later on, right? Now, as I said to you, this is not an uncommon, it's common. A lot of people have done this research, right?
Yes,
But you can still identify research gap. Right? So you got to think, how are you going to create a conceptual framework? Right? You're doing deductive research, right? A conceptual framework that is coming from your research gaps. What have not been studied before, you want to study that, right? So what is it? Now, I'm going to give you some inputs, right? You can follow them, you can change them, whatever, right? One of them is to, when you talk about nature of business, what are you referring to?
The nature of business, such as the state owner or non-state owner, some of the nature of the business. It's
Okay, that would be
to find the difference can influence the dependent variables and the independent variables.
All right. Okay. So if I understand correctly, you're basically getting secondary data, mainly from the reports, right? Because these are data that are available from the reports, right? So you're using this one, right? But innovation, how are you looking at innovation?
Innovation, there's some data like the R&D report like this. It can I can collect the data online because they are all listed companies.
Okay.
The reports, there are data there.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Okay. I see. Your where you can. So it's also online. Now, so basically now, the challenge of your PhD thesis right now is that you might not be discovering something that is novel, something original. You got to think of identify an area, a research gap that is original. Yeah, Kyla, you got to think about that. How are you going to shape that? Now, the other part to this is this. When I look at your work, right? Now, if you want to make it original, I'm not sure there is a. Do you know how many public listed companies there are in China?
How many?
Do you know how many?
I'm not sure the numbers.
Okay, Jimin, do you know?
Thousands.
1,000?
Yeah, many thousands.
Many
Because
thousands.
just in pharmaceutical, 300.
300, right? I think it was 1,000.
This is a branch.
This is a branch, yeah. But it's public listed, it's listed companies, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure, you want to make it original? Maybe, yeah. There is no study who has done a population study. And you know what population study is? Population study is studying all of the population. All of public listed companies. That's a population study. So you don't need sampling anymore, you just study population study. So whatever you study, it's not about representativeness, it is the population, right? I'm not sure there is a population study. So that can be a gap there, a research gap. There is no comprehensive population study. Meaning you're studying the whole public listed companies in China.
Almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000. So you got a lot of data entry there if you want to study. So that's one angle, right? You can do a population study. Maybe not. I'm not sure whether there's a research on that one. And usually when people carry out research, they tend to do the random sampling. Seldom people do population study. But then you have access to the whole population. Maybe you want to do a population study, right? The other part of the nature of business is that you can segment the business. You know, the manufacturing, the electronic, the pharmaceutical, the construction companies, the financial companies. You know, you can do a compare and contrast within all these companies and see, the impact of it. The other one is basically you're making it much more sophisticated. The other one, are you noting this one? Note what I'm saying to you, right? So you can segment it, and then the other one is to make study based on geography, right? So
yes.
Geography, the geographical nature to it. So your variables are more complex than this one. It's not just nature of business. There's the type of business, the type of industry, for instance, the geography, or the location of business. Can you reduce the or? So you want to think of as many variables as possible to make your study something that has not been studied before. You get what I'm saying, Kyla? So you have
Yes.
so probably you have more than one moderating factor, more than you have more complex kind of research.
More complex.
More complex
research.
Right? So it can be geography, it can be type of industry, it can be number of years, right? Whether it's a new company, old company, you can look at the how long it has been established, right? That's another type. You can look at the size of the company. The size of the company as well. I think those you can find in the data from the public listed companies, right?
Yes.
So you can put as many as possible to make it a complex kind of model. Right? So in your analysis, you make it as comprehensive as possible, right? And you want to see in what context, in what dynamics do CSR have an impact on financial performance? In what dynamic CSR has an impact on innovation? So maybe the geographical location, maybe the type of industry, maybe within this context CSR has an impact. Within this context CSR has an impact. So you can look at that, but it has to be something that has not been researched before. Like how
Yes.
you must make that an important part of your research design, right? So your research design, when you put together the conceptual framework, don't call it research framework, call it conceptual framework, you must have all those put together, right? So it must be something that is not being studied before. That is the most important point I want to tell you that. The second important point I want to tell you is that your variables, right? Just now you say you use two theories, right? There are stakeholders theories, the other one is social contract theory, right? Social contract theory. Right? You said that those two theories, social contract theory and theory. Now, when you formulate your conceptual framework, right? Since it's going to be close to comprehensive model, right? So you're going to be a model rather than just a model, right?
Yes.
You want to link related theories to the conceptual framework. You know what I'm saying? Go back to your conceptual framework. Go back to your conceptual framework right now. So you're deductive. So if there's a theory that talks about nature of business and financial performance, you bring that theory in, right, in your research, and you need to say that you say why you need to justify why you bring nature of business, or geographical location. There's a theory about that, then bring that in as well, right? If there's a theory about type of industry, bring that in as well. So remember, your deductive research is based on a theory to hypothesis to data collection, right? So the hypothesis must be informed, must be coming from the theory. So you
Coming from the theory. Yes.
So not just stakeholders theory alone is not enough. Social contract theory alone is not enough, right? Okay, that's my point number two. I think important point number two, right? So number one is about the research gap, make it comprehensive, make it strong, make it something that has not been studied before. I say go for population if you have the resource to. It's not resource, it's time resource, right? You need to. Maybe you have some software you can just transfer. It can do data mining and go straight from the data to the analysis. Maybe some AI software you can use. I don't know. The second point is about from a theory to the hypothesis, right? So the hypothesis is informed It's coming from the theory. Point number 2. Point number 3.
Theory.
Point number 3. Now, to make your research PhD worthy, right? Strong, solid PhD worthy thesis. I suggest you do a sequential research design. What does it mean? You have your data, and then this is quantitative, and then you follow up with qualitative after that. Qualitative research.
Yes.
But the qualitative research,
in my research, I would like to introduce the qualitative parts in the part 6. That means the discussion.
Okay, it cannot be chapter 6. It must be in your chapter methodology, chapter 3.
Okay.
Right? It's called sequential research design, right? It's sequential, which means, and what you have is actually explanatory research, right? Why is it called explanatory? You have the data, you want to explain the data. Then you get, the data will give you, what the reality is. The quantitative data will give you the statistics. The qualitative data will give you the explanation. But the qualitative data, you also need a sampling for the qualitative data. It doesn't have to be all of these companies. Right? You can go up to 30 to 40 interviews, right? 30 to 40 interviews, because you already have a lot of quantitative data, right? So 30 to 40 interviews. It must be a sample that makes sense according to your research, according to your conceptual framework, right? So maybe based on location, maybe based on industry, maybe you got to define that way. So you'll be purposely sampling, right? Purposely sampling meaning you're choosing the interview or the respondents of the interview based on certain criteria, right? So you say, well, when I'm interviewing 40, 10 is from the north, 10 is from the south, the other 10 is from the east, the other 10 from the west. North, south, east, west, right? Dong, Nan, Si, Bei, all, we cover all of them, right? Right? So there's an example. Or by industry, right? You want to see the explanation, right? By the person in charge. It cannot be low-level executives. It must be somebody who is in middle management or top management, right? To explain it. Right? Are you sure? Sitting down too long, right? Okay. Huh? A bit sleepy. Okay. I have some more food. Okay, I have some dessert under here. Right. Oh, that's good. There's apricot. Yeah. That can have some dessert. Apricot. It's good for vitamins B.
No, it's healthy.
Healthy.
It's growth in my country.
It's growing in country. Apricot, yeah. So, my final point is a final point. I think I've discussed with you a long time ago, but maybe it was too overwhelming, too many things I was commenting on. The final point is my 4th point, I think, is that it sounds like you're making a business case for CSR. That CSR can bring financial performance, better financial performance. This is the paradigm of business case of CSR. Why CSR is good for the business, right? Why CSR is good for finances, right? There are studies being done, opposite study. Sinful industries. A lot of sinful industries, sinful being 很多罪很多 sins, the bad deeds, evil companies, not good companies. Yeah, the gambling company, the alcoholic company, the prostitution companies, right? Sins, 罪，罪哈，公司有很多罪的。
Some negative consequence.
A lot of bad companies have good financial performance. So they do not have to have CSR, right? But they still have good financial performance. So the connection between CSR and financial performance is actually a flawed connection. They say you do not have to have good CSR, but they may still make good companies. The gambling company, the tobacco company, the prostitution company. There are some countries where it's legalized prostitution. Arms manufacturing companies, right? They build arms to kill people, basically, right? They make good profits. They do not have to have CSR. They still make money, right? So the argument about CSR leading to good financial performance, if you're trying to make that case, is a flawed logic, because there are companies that do not have to have CSR, they still make good money, right? So be careful if you think about that logic. If you think about that logic, you want to be careful. You do not want to make that conclusion. You just want to say that, well, CSR can lead to financial performance, better financial performance in certain sectors and all that, right? But the opposite is not necessarily true. That without CSR, they cannot perform well financially, right? So you want to be careful. This is a capitalist way of looking at CSR. The capitalists like to make the argument that, look, you want to do CSR because CSR is good for business. You can become richer with CSR, right? Then you should the capitalists make the argument. But you want to be careful. You want to make the argument whether you want to make the argument or not. I teach CSR. I'm also a critic of CSR as well. So maybe CSR can contribute other things. Reputation, maybe. That is a closer connection. CSR and reputation is a closer connection. Corporate citizenship, CSR. People look up to companies who perform good CSR. But financial performance and the connection with CSR is not a strong connection. It's a weak connection. Yeah? And in fact, you can do the opposite, you can still become rich. You can sell tobacco, you can sell weeds, you can sell pornography, you can sell weapons, you can sell gambling. Casinos make a lot of money. That is why.
Maybe there are one part of dimension of CSR. For example, gambling complaints. Okay, forgot it.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about it.
Your research doesn't mean it's just be careful with the conclusion. That's all. Yeah, just be careful with the conclusion. Right? I think that the argument should not be you have CSR, therefore you have better profits. You do not want to make that. You do not want to make that argument, right? Because it's not a strong argument to make. Because a lot of companies would say, well, no, I do not need CSR to have good money, and so your social argument needs to be somewhat different. Talk about CSR can bring customer loyalty, can bring employee satisfaction, but financial, not a strong link. So rethink your research design, whether you want to have this conceptual framework, meaning the financial performance being the dependent variable, right? Now financial performance is your dependent variable. The CSR is an independent variable. You have all the moderating variables are whether you want to make financial performance your dependent variable or not, or maybe there's something else that can be much more dependent in association with CSR. But the challenge is data access, because you want to get data only from the public listed company, therefore you make it easy for you. I know that, right? But
the listed companies has a report.
Yes. But there are others at more sophisticated level. You can look at linkages. I'm not sure you have linkages, the forward, backward linkages. Their connection with also thank you so much. Their connection with foreign companies. Sometimes sometimes if they are supplier to a MNCs company that supplies to MNCs, the multinational corporations, the foreign corporation. The foreign corporation might have certain CSR standards, right? That the smaller the supplier company needs to comply. They have to follow the standards of the big companies, and the big companies have high CSR standards, right? So then CSR becomes important. So example that come important. Morning. Mutadi just arrived from Iraq. Just Iraq. Because Iraq is just in the morning. So what I can see, my own observation and my own research shows that whenever there's two forces, these two forces can have an impact on their CSR. What are they? One is their customer, their company customer, right? Usually their supplier supplying to another company, so they're following another company standard. The other one is government regulation. Government regulation plays a role. So usually companies will follow government regulation. So that's another factor. So here is where you are looking at financial performance as dependent variable. Whether you want to look at that as dependent variable or not, that's a question mark. So an examiner might come in and ask you. You need to be able to defend why you choose this one instead of the other, whatever. But be careful, you do not want to follow the logic of a business case for CSR, why doing good is good for business, that line, that kind of thing. Although it's good, I agree it's good, but not necessarily financially, because there are other ways of making profit without being a good company. Tobacco companies make a lot of money, gambling casinos make a lot of money, pornographic companies make a lot of money, guns manufacturers make a lot of money, so they do not need to be. A mining company, they exploit people like hell, right? Child labor and all that, they still make money. So you be careful with that line. So the analysis of your findings need to be more sophisticated at the end. You got to think of some theoretical context that makes it more meaningful. So you say maybe you want to bring in the cultural element, maybe you want to bring in the geographical element, maybe you want to bring in the government element in your analysis later on, right? Okay, Kala, you have any questions? We'll take a break, 3-minute break.
Okay.
So let me tell you this. Your target is to present in 1 or 2 months' time. Latest is what? End of September.
September.
Okay. Yeah, you got to. I'm not going to push you. You're going to follow up with me, right? I want to tell you, Kala, have you done this or not? You got to follow up with me, right?
So I will try to make it better as soon as possible.
Okay, don't try, do it.
And I will focus on it.
Yeah. Just don't try. Just not try. The mind cannot understand that word. Example: try to sit, try to stand up. Kala, try to stand up. Try to stand up.
Hello?
Try to stand up. Try to stand.
Stand up?
No, I said try. I didn't say stand. Try to stand. Try to stand, not stand up. I said try. So the mind cannot understand the command of try. You stand up or you don't stand up, right? You cannot try to stand up.
I just hear stand up.
Yeah, you do not try to stand up. You stand up or you don't stand up, right? So there is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. There's Yoda in Star Wars. That's what he said. Star Wars said, try. There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yes, I will.
Do it. There's no try. What's it? I want to say. Set a target, right? So you want to make another presentation at least, right? You might be doing 2 presentations before the actual presentation. So improve your work in 1 week and communicate with me, and then we'll arrange for another group presentation, group supervision for you, Kailan. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, yeah, welcome. Alright, good job. No. Yeah, Sami is here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a 3 minutes break. Come have some food, some refreshments. Okay, right back.
对，我觉得现在
但现在一个一个开始。
开始催了。这挺好的。他说下次是9月底是吗？9月底没说呀。
没有。
Somebody, you ready?
他说看来在1个月
对呀，但是他说开完不是定了一个目标，
啊好嘞
要在1到2年。他说
How are you?
有一些目
这个新东西说说。
Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Anyone?
Did you come back from Singapore or
No. Go ahead. Next week.
next week? 因为上次大家说好吃，Honey, take some food, please.
开完发了，尝尝。
他俩没心情。
Mutani, what we gonna go eat today?
We can eat here.
We can, that is
So much food.
that's not wow.
Wow, that's
Oh,
great.
Thank you.
That's great. You taste the Iraqi or Arab sweets?
Arab sweets.
Arab sweets.
Iraqi noodles. Hiya.
看来说的信号不好，断断续续的。
我们感觉还挺牛的。
Good time.
I took the picture.
Oh, it's not this is Arab, Asian Arab.
Asian.
Asian Arab.
里面是有点红糖，我感觉。
Turkey.
Turkey and Asian Arab. But African Arab, they don't do that, actually.
Thank you.
哇，眼睛。
Yes. Thank you so much. Can I take
This
a
is
photo
what?
here?
Turkey Arab.
Turkey and Arab mixed.
Turkey Arab.
Yeah, because Syria, Iraq
Thank you so
do
much.
it, Gulf do it. Yeah.
介绍像以示敬意。
Which one too?
When you finish, come here.
我给你们两个拍了2张。
Thank you.
Again, bro.
Yeah. Pistachios.
Try the green one, yeah.
Yeah, pistachios. Yeah.
Wow. Sam, thank you, Sam. Thank you. This is surprise.
Thank you.
You didn't tell me.
Please smile now.
He didn't tell me.
Okay.
He didn't tell
We
me.
didn't tell you that. Oh. Where's Lanbin?
Let's have the tissue.
Yeah, where's Lanbin?
He went to Langkawi.
Lapin Langkawi.
He's a part-time student, full-time tourist.
I shouldn't tell you. 老师问我兰宾去哪了，我就去兰卡威了，被老师知道，我说不该告诉你。
Lanbin is a part-time student, full-time tourist. Like the Scandinavian students. Last time I had a lot of Scandinavian students. That's what they do. They become part-time student and full-time. Thank you so much. Shukran.
Yeah, just
Shukran. Hanif.
Where do you want to write?
What does Hanif mean?
你为什么一打出来一个字到外面去了？
كان حنيف.
Hanif,
حنيف pure.
pure. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
你还行，我不行，我
Are you pure?
Hanif,
Hello.
Thank you.
I will take this one down. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now or later.
查你。
What do you think? Now or later?
Later, after your presentation. Okay.
哎，我特别这个糕点。
There is some rice inside the rice. are so many, right?
它这个有壁虎。
Oh, you big.
This for breakfast.
For bread.
No.
所以那
Because it's good for breakfast, too light for lunch.
Rice.
It's rice and beef. It's but breakfast level, not serious. Serious lunch.
really full enough, and we don't have to eat lunch. Full enough.
Really now? Mm. Have you given your PowerPoint to Anip? Or you want?
Okay, no problem. What you want?
Mm.
I don't have any problem. Hanif, how I can send to Hanif?
Oh, really? It's called nasi daging. This is not. It's not nasi lemak. It's not the coconut.
Not less
Coconut.
This is not coconut. This nasi daging is a beef
Beef.
curry.
Oh, I thought it's nasi
Nasi
lemak.
lemak. No,
lemak.
no, it's not. It's a
Send
yetian.
it for you during WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like the 粽子. It's similar to 粽子, right?
It's rice basically. Curry rice.
它不是那个椰浆饭，它是
不是椰
是不是有可能是卤汁儿上浇在上面？
It's like curry.
carrot.
Yeah, curry.
这是糯米吗？
这是 mean this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
跟腰呢？
It's very small.
I want to change it.
Kyla, can you stop sharing? Can Kyla stop sharing? Kyla, can you stop sharing? Can you look at Kyla? Does she look like Mao Zedong?
Really?
He looks like Mao Zedong. When Mao
Maybe
Zedong
it's-
when he's younger.
Kyla will be shocked.
Huh? Yeah. Look at him carefully. You know that Kyla's ancestor is Mao Zedong.
Really?
他的祖先啊，你是祖先。
哦，Kyla是真的吗？
Kyla, we are asking you. Your what? Great grandfather, grand uncle?
Is that true?
Yes.
Ask him. Is that true? Kyla,
英文。
他信号不好，
哦。
说一下断断续续的。
Kyla, are you related to Mao Zedong?
Yes, but not close.
Not close.
اصلا هي تعبانه.
Yeah,
لازم
yeah.
نبدلها.
It's
او
true.
لسه مسروق لنا واحد منهم.
Hmm.
او محتاج بشتري له واحد هيك.
Sure.
تدلل.
الصبح.
شلون وضع الطرح؟
His father looks even more like
لا لا
Mao
نظفت
Zedong.
الغرفة، قعدت امبارح 3 ساعات وانا بنظف.
نظفتها.
ايوه خليت اشتريت.
راح غرفتك بالليل نايم شيء؟
كان
حسيتك نمت قلت خليه نايم راجع.
وصيت الساعة 2.
Recording my mind.
كيف نبتدي باعنا خلاص.
لا لا ما بيعرف.
باعنا.
Are you ready? Like,
لا ما بيعرف.
باعنا.
الغالي ما ينباع.
لا بعت خلاص.
ناس lemak?
no, it's nasi daging.
ناس daging.
Daging is beef.
داقي
no.
ناسي داقي. ناسي
ما-
أيام. Just I know
كمان
ناسي
لحم
أيام.
على
بولي
التمر.
بولي.
Nasi ayam is chicken.
Chicken.
Ayam.
بولي بولي.
Days.
بولي.
Boleh, boleh.
Pule. Pule can.
Oh, boleh.
بولي.
Boleh.
بولي.
Pule. Saya pule cakap bahasa Melayu.
Boleh is can.
Ya, can. No, I almost no. Daging ikan,
Ikan.
ikan fish, telur,
Hello.
egg.
Egg.
You still make Robin Hood in the weekend?
Yeah, we can do that. We can go, right? We can go play, right? We can schedule time, we can go play. Yeah, yeah.
Archery.
Correct.
Archery.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now our next presentation is from Samir.
Yeah.
Okay, Bismillah, go ahead.
Bismillah. Okay. Belt and Road Initiative in the Middle East and North Africa, case study of political proximity, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Jordan, with China. China has always played an important role in global commerce. The Old Silk Road, which originated during the Han dynasty until the 15th century. The open door policy beginning in 1978, when China increasingly embraced market principles after decades of central planning that result in poor production levels. About the China's national growth, it brought about the essential improvement to allow the country to open its border to global investment, lower tariffs, and offer less trade restrictions. President Xi Jinping originally announced China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, formerly known as the One Belt, One Road Initiative. In 2013,
Initiative.
Initiative.
Yeah.
Initiative.
Yeah, sheet.
Initiative.
Yeah.
In 2013, as a large-scale infrastructure project aimed at enhancing transportation connections between nations. The problem statement: many academics believe that expanding economic contract and cooperation between countries will lead to increased mutual interest and, as a result, increased political interaction between countries. Meanwhile, such studies contend that political tensions and disputes would have a detrimental impact on economic connections and international commerce. A small number of these studies look at the beneficial political connections between China and nations in the Middle East. Since the BRC launched the BRI in 2013, the majority of research have focused on the economic joint ties and their consequence for the economic and other industrial and commercial sectors. Few studies, on the other hand, seek to investigate the indicator that may be used to measure the political connections between the PRC and Middle East countries. Example, political closeness. However, the majority of research in the sector contend that their political interactions have not been elevated to the proper degree to balance their economic ties. The majority of academics attribute the absence of political contact between these nations to the oriented power in the Middle East. According to several analyses, these Middle Eastern countries are strategically aligned. As a result, both parties are taking their political relationships seriously. The study main problem stem from a broad and central question: did the general development in Chinese economic relations with Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt after 2013, the launch of the Belt and Road Initiative, reduce or increase the political distance between China and those countries? And if the political distance between China and other nations has shrunk, what are the reasons for this? And why hasn't the political divide between China and those countries shrunk? What stops the overall improvement in economic relation between China and these nations from narrowing the political gap? Such problematic questions, which must be answered using quantitative indicator of political distance and in a more comprehensive way, away from any hasty conclusion to judge the Chinese political relations with the case study countries, are a basic pillar for understanding the reality of Chinese relations with those countries, and a basic pillar for predicting their future based on qualitative, economic, political, and military cooperation. Research questions based on the problem. The study has developed some questions that will identify through this case study. What are the economic changes before and after the introduction of PRI in MENA? Is there transformation in the political proximity before countries MENA under PRI? And what are the evaluations, transformation under PRI? What are the explanation of academic, business, and NGO communities about the situation under PRI? The current study has developed specific objectives to determine through the case study analysis. They are to identify economic change in KSA, Egypt, and Jordan before and after PRI, to measure the transformation of political proximity in KSA, Egypt, and Jordan with PRI introduction, to examine the experimentations of case segments of society, academic, business, and NGOs about the change. This is the literature review. Is divided into 5 main sections as follow: liberal theory, discuss PRI concept, Saudi Arabia in PRI, Egypt in PRI, Jordan in PRI. Down. Right. Conceptual framework. If you remember, Prof, before I take PRI, under PRI take trade and FDI. I'll change now. I remove FDI because I found FDI don't give me any indicator. I mixed it with the investment. That means the PRI, this is the action after and before. And I take economic relations, I take from the economic relation, trade exchange, investment, economic cooperation. For example, the bank, the 2 bank, big bank. And political relations, I will take the 3 or 5 indicator. Next, please. Next. Up, please. No, down. No, up. Quantitative, I will take World Bank, then I will take International Monetary Fund and investment border, because the National Bank of the countries don't give me any data, and respective website in the quantitative. Next, please. Doctor, Prof, about this one, we should sit down with you. about this one. Should we sit down with you because I make one pilot study. I found there are some problem because if I ask you how many students from China and Saudi Arabia, tell me I don't know. Like, how many students from Saudi Arabia and China? I don't know. We should sit down with you to discuss about this question. Next, please. Next. Okay. About the methodology, I will take the study has two methods, quantitative and qualitative. For quantitative analysis, the current study will collect secondary data from World Bank, International Monetary Fund, as I tell you now, of the countries and respective website. After collection of the data, the study will quantify and validate the analysis through previously used formula. To go more in-depth information, the study will conduct qualitative interviews. Based on the interviews, the data will be analyzed and result will be provided alongside with quantitative study result. Next, please. Next. Now, wait. In the chapter 4, I work in the chapter 4, and maybe 1 month I will finish. But in the result in the chapter 4, to know just